Hey, my name is Scotty, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you my technique of sketching anything, including a very complex subject like this Vespa. So when I approach any object, I look at the overall shapes and I try and measure them out using dots. So you might have seen that method I've used before. I've got a tutorial recently about sketching any object. For this example here, if you're an advanced sketcher, I'd recommend going straight to ink and just having a go at doing this, but for beginners, I feel like we just need a bit of extra support, so we're going to use our pencil for the very first step. So what I want you to do in the first step is to draw a very straight line, parallel with the bottom edge of your page. Draw a very straight line. And then on the side here, we'll draw a vertical line. There we go. So we have a vertical line and a horizontal line. So now let's put, from that bottom corner there, an angle going down, and just have a look at the reference and just have a rough guess at the angle you think that is. So I'm going to draw it like that. So we need quite a big angle here. Now that's a good starting point for us, and we don't have to follow this exactly around there. You can make your way up going outside that line. But with a complex object like this, there's no real main shape like a big prism. So there are lots of little shapes. So in a situation like this, I actually do the whole silhouette. So when I'm looking at the reference, the easiest thing I can use as an anchor point for the sketch is that front right wheel. So I'm going to measure with my fingers the width of the wheel and measure back 1, 2, 3. This section here for the front wheel, and put a dot there. If I make the wheel this wide, just choose a width, and so you get the width there with your fingers, and just roughly go across. 1, put your finger there, 2. So it makes 3 spots. I'll put the width there. So that width of the wheel is the same to the height to that mud guard. So just looking at this shape here, let's have our best rough guess of how we're going to do the outline. And that's roughly the shape. So grab that 1 and a bit to there. That's where that makes that back wheel shorter. Across, I'm following that angle that I've already done there, and I'm just drawing a line up to there. So like that. I mean, that's very, very rough there. The stand that we have. Now let's go up this way. From the bottom of a wheel to that where that blue bit is, if I measure with my fingers, I can go 1, 2, 3. That's about to where the top of that light is. So we have 1, 2, and 3. This section here, we want to see how far that front guard comes to. So halfway between those 2 points there. Okay, so now we know that we're drawing that top guard to about here. And then in this bottom section, between these two sections, about halfway, that's where the top of that guard comes to. So we've divided these two top sections into half each. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4 dots there. Let's now draw this the outline of the guard. So it goes up to this point, so it comes out a little bit, and then just curves up like that to about there. It goes out slightly, you can see that goes out, and we're going up to this point here. So where that line was, I'm going to meet it here. Now how far does that guard come across, that front section? Well, it comes to about halfway between the two wheels, maybe a bit to the right. Here it's a bit of a curve. That's where it comes to on this side. So we'll come across. So let's draw that angle. It angles back to about the middle again, and then let's draw that angle. And we can draw this top light shape as well. So I can get that on the outside edge. And there. And we know where the light is, so it's easier to put these bits in. And let's draw that handle. And once again, one line. Now let's draw the seat at the back. So from that back of the wheel there to there, again roughly, you could use a ruler if you like to measure it, and then hold your fingers, and then I'm measuring from that line, not from the bottom of the wheel, to here. So it's this dot here. So that's the seat, that's that blue section, and then that's the wheels. Roughing it out, handlebar, and then the back of the seat. Now we're coming back down, and we'll see how far the seat comes towards here. So it's quite close to that edge. Put a dot right in the middle, from that middle point to there, little dot here. And then let's draw that top section of the seat. Goes down to the front, and then we have another little section that goes for the front of the seat down here. You can adjust your lines. And that thickness there is incorrect, so maybe I have to bring that up a little bit. And then from here, right across the front. Okay, now we have all the main outlines. Let's go into some of the smaller shapes and do these quite loosely. So work through each one and add the details. Hold your pen loosely and make sure they're nice flowing lines. So we'll do this light up the top, and then let's draw a circle in the outline, and it kind of comes down to this. So see that oval shape there, this front shape, this cut out. There's a width here, and let's draw that. It comes down straight down the front and around, comes across and cuts across the wheel like that. So there's a detail here. Remember, loose lines, keep them loose. It can be wobbly. Edge, silver edge. Just from eye doing this now. Look at the width of the wheel. There, the black section. Put a dot there. And this section here will be a lot narrower. So there'll be about 1 to 3 in ratios. Outside bits there. And also an inner. And then right in the middle, there's a little one. Triangle shapes that go from the inside to the out like this. We're simplifying the detail a little bit. And then there's a shadow line in the back behind. So I'm just more getting the silhouette shapes there. And outlining this shape here. We could leave that for watercolor, but sometimes it's just nice to put in those shapes like this. There's the inner one there. And then we have the exhaust. Outline that shape, and it goes in here. Now it's very impressionistic. Seam line. So they're a very complicated shape and form. We were able to put it within those two lines and do all the silhouette of the object and then break down those objects. And mine isn't perfect to the reference, but it does have that loose feel. And I'm really happy with that. So let's go on to watercolor. I have my round 10 brush, and we're working with cerulean blue. So I've put lots of dabs of water in there, just roughly in the shapes where the blue is. Let's put in this cerulean. And as we're coming down, now we're adding the more saturated cerulean blue. A bit more cerulean blue. Just right at the bottom, I want to add some ultramarine. And right in the corner where it's the darkest, down here. Then we'll do the seat. So the seat is a mixture of yellow ochre, some Payne's grey across the seat. Now mix some Payne's grey in the top, and then I'm bringing that across and trying to avoid the middle silver bit. And I've let this dry. I've actually used a hairdryer to make the other bits dry so it won't bleed into those areas. Just add a little bit in there. So it's very impressionistic. We're just blobbing in the paint, not even within the lines accurately. Just a bit there on the handles. Now just a bit more water into that Payne's grey, simple as that, to get a light grey. See how light that is, a light grey. And now with these reflections, we're just loosely going to put some shapes in there, some blobs. Usually in the middle of the chrome, it reflects back what's around it. Then it's white, and then it goes into that grey again. More grey on the bottom of this part. And then here, this is probably in shadow, that's why there's not as many white. It's not reflecting the sky as much. Now, we've got all the flat colours. Let's add some shadows. Before we go into details which hopefully bring that reflections in the paint, add a bit of splatters on top and some highlights. So I use Purple Lake for my shadows, but if the sun is coming from the top, we're mostly at the bottom of objects. So underneath here would have shadow. And then down here, around the bottom here like this, underneath this flap, there's lots of shadow in here too. We come around the back here, underneath the seat has a shadow. Let's add a ground shadow across the bottom. Splash that on to there, and some dots. That gives texture. So I'm adding ultramarine into that bit of the shadow. It's looking a bit light, so you might be thinking that. I need some more saturation to add to it with our highlights and our dark spots. So I'm going to add this cerulean blue and ultramarine dots here on the they'll add reflections. So you don't have to use splatters if you don't want to, if you're not a fan of the splatter technique. Dab it on your paper towel first, and then aim where the section is, so hold your fingers out. Look at that. I'll put just a bit here because I can notice the difference there. Same up here, see there's like a dark shadow there, something reflecting. I have my Uniball Signo pen, and that can be used for highlights. So for example here, down here, this into, especially in the chrome sections, adding some reflected light in there. So that's how I sketch a Vespa using my sketching technique with measuring with dots. I hope you enjoyed that loose technique. If you want the full version, please check out my Patreon, because I put the full version there with the reference and the templates there. And I've also got a great community which you can be part of and post your sketches and get some feedback. But otherwise, there's another tutorial right here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.